In the year 1921, there was a man named Roscoe Arbuckle. Most people called him Fatty. Today, we might think that is a mean name, but back then it was just his stage name. Roscoe was the biggest star in Hollywood. He was even bigger than Charlie Chaplin for a while. He was a very large man, but he was also very fast. He could jump, run, and do flips. People loved to watch him throw pies and fall down in funny ways. He was a silent film star. This means movies had no sound. He had to use his face and his body to make people laugh. And he was very good at it. Roscoe was the first actor ever to get $1 million contract. That was a huge amount of money in 1921. He had expensive cars and a big house. He was also a very kind man. He helped other actors become famous. Everyone in the United States and the United Kingdom knew his face. He was the king of comedy. But in one weekend, everything changed. His fame disappeared, and his life became a nightmare. In September 1921, Roscoe was very tired. He had worked on many movies without a break. He decided to go on a trip to San Francisco. He drove his fancy car from Los Angeles. He went with two of his friends. They stayed at the St. Francis Hotel. It was a very expensive and beautiful hotel. Back then, there was a law called Prohibition. This meant it was illegal to have alcohol. But famous people in Hollywood often broke this law. Roscoe and his friends had a party in their hotel rooms. There was music and dancing. Many people came to the party. One guest was a young actress named Virginia Rappe. She was 26 years old. During the party, Virginia became very sick. She was in a lot of pain in one of the bedrooms. Roscoe said he found her on the floor. He tried to help her. He put her on the bed and called for a doctor. Sadly, Virginia did not get better. She died 5 days later in a hospital. The doctors said her bladder had burst. This caused a bad infection. This was a sad medical accident. But some people at the party told a different story. They told the police that Roscoe had hurt her. A woman named Maud Delmont was at the party. She told the police that Roscoe was a bad man. She said he forced Virginia into the room and crushed her with his weight. She said he was the reason she died. The police arrested Roscoe. Suddenly, the man who made everyone laugh was being called a murderer. But the real problem was the newspapers. A man named William Randolph Hearst owned many newspapers. He wanted to sell more papers by telling scary stories. He did not care about the truth. The newspapers started calling Roscoe a monster. They printed stories that were not true. They said he was a predator. They even made up a story about a glass bottle being used to hurt Virginia. People across the country read these lies. They didn't wait for a trial. They decided Roscoe was guilty because the newspapers said so. In just a few days, the whole world hated the man they used to love. Roscoe had to go to court 3 times. This was very expensive and very sad for him. The first trial started, and the lawyers showed that the witness, Maud Delmont, was not honest. She had a history of lying to get money. But the jury could not decide if Roscoe was innocent or guilty. The second trial was the same. The jury was confused. All this time, Roscoe could not work. The movie studios stopped showing his films. People stayed away from his movies. He lost all his money. He had to sell his house and his cars. He sat in the courtroom every day, looking very sad. He was no longer the funny man. He was a broken man. In the third trial, the truth finally came out. Doctors told the jury that Virginia had been sick for a long time. Her illness was made worse by the alcohol she drank at the party. There was no proof that Roscoe had hurt her at all. The jury only talked for 6 minutes. They came back and said he was not guilty, but they did something more. They wrote a letter to apologize to Roscoe. They said he was innocent. They said a great injustice had happened to him. They said the police and the newspapers were wrong. Roscoe cried when he heard this. He thought he could finally go back to work, but he was wrong again. Even though the court said he was innocent, Hollywood did not want him back. People still remembered the bad stories in the newspapers. They did not want to see his movies. Hollywood leaders created a new office to watch over movies. It was called the Hayes Office. They wanted to show that they were good people. They banned Roscoe from acting in movies. They used him as an example. He was the bad guy, even though he did nothing wrong. Roscoe had to change his name to find work. He used the name William Goodrich. He started directing small movies for other people. He stayed in the shadows. He was very depressed. He started drinking too much because he was so sad. He had lost his name, his career, and his joy. Years passed. In 1933, it seemed like things were finally getting better. A big movie studio called Warner Brothers signed a contract with him. They wanted him to make a big movie again. He was going to use his real name, Roscoe Arbuckle. Roscoe was so happy. He told his friends, "This is the best day of my life." He felt like he was finally being forgiven. He went to bed that night, feeling hopeful for the first time in 12 years. But Roscoe never woke up. He had a heart attack in his sleep and died. He was only 46 years old. He died just hours after his career was given back to him. He never got to hear the world laugh at his movies one last time. The story of Roscoe Arbuckle is a very important lesson. It shows us how dangerous it is to believe everything we read in the news. It shows us how rumors can destroy a person's life, even if they are innocent. Because of this scandal, Hollywood changed forever. They made very strict rules for movies. But more importantly, a good man was lost. Roscoe was a pioneer of cinema. He was a genius who just wanted to make people happy. When we watch old silent movies today, we should remember Roscoe. We should remember the man behind the smile. He was a victim of lies and a media that wanted to sell papers instead of telling the truth. His story reminds us to be kind and to always look for the truth before we judge someone. Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle once said he just wanted to make people laugh. In the end, his life became a tragedy, but his movies still remain. They're a memory of a time when he was the funniest man in the world.